and welcome to Citizens Forum. This is being filmed on Tuesday, July the 14th in the Memorial Arena in Victoria, BC. I'd like to start by thanking our volunteer crew and the Shaw staff that makes this program happen every week. Our first guest is Sharon Noble. Walter's out of town. Our first guest is Sharon Noble, and Sharon is with a group called StopSmartMetersBC, StopSmartMetersBC.ca. And what they want to do, and have been trying to do for a long time, is stop this whole smart meter thing. I'm with the idea 100%. So welcome, Sharon.
Thank you.
And you and your group have evidence now that these smart meters that are on everybody's homes and everybody's business cause fires. So that's the issue I think you want to talk about. So let's just get right into it.
That is the issue. As you know, the last few times we've talked, I've talked about the fact that no one's tracking fires here. They are happening. But I can't get any traction with any of the politicians or with the media. But now we have independent evidence from a court in Texas stating that the Itron open-way meters, the very same meters that we have here, have been involved in many fires, have exploded, and have caused a lot of problems down there. One of the people down there who is, in fact, involved in the lawsuit stated that they had pallets of burned meters in their warehouse. I think this is evidence that we need to have major concerns. Now, I had told many people about the fact that there are design flaws. We have electrical engineers and other experts who have identified many of them. In Texas, this very experienced person said that one of the problems is that the meter base, the very same meter base that used to hold the analog, cannot hold a smart meter. They aren't designed to hold anything except an analog. And the blades of the smart meter are much thinner than the blades of the analog. This leaves a gap, and any electrician will tell you that means a fire is likely to occur because there will be arcing. And this is exactly what they saw in Texas. And I believe this is what we're seeing up here. And Hydro is denying any responsibility for any of the fires that occur. They say it's the meter base. Well, perhaps it is the meter base. But it's their fault for putting something in the meter base that doesn't belong there.
So if a fire happens here,
yes,
first of all, you can never find information that says,
that's right,
that says it has anything to do with the smart meter. But on occasion, Hydro will say it's the meter base, which is the fault of the person who owns the home. Is that correct?
We own the meter base. Hydro owns the meters.
Right.
So whenever there's a problem, in fact, I've been told by an insider long before the program even started, if there were any fires, it would always be the problem of the base, not the meter.
Okay. Let's go back to the court case in Texas. So
yes.
I think what happened there is somebody tried to speak, somebody who worked, well, you tell us, who was this
fellow
person?
was a long-term employee, and he was the head of the union.
A long-term employee?
In Texas, in the Houston and that area.
Their electrical company?
Yes,
okay.
For the utility company. And he was very concerned about the fact that his union fellow union members were going to be dealing with these very dangerous devices. And so he was speaking out, and he got fired. And so
when did this happen?
When? The document I have is just from the last 2 months. The court case is still ongoing. But
this has taken place over months or years.
Yes, as court cases do. They take a long while.
Now, it's interesting that even though smart meters are such an important issue, there's no mention anywhere in the media of this kind of case, which would open a lot of people's eyes to what's going on.
Well, the media is not our friend. The media is owned by the corporations, whether it's the telecommunications corporations or other corporations. We can't get any information into the newspapers. We can get very little on television. There hasn't been anything on television except this program for a long time, and it's very difficult to get on the radio. Everything is very tightly controlled. Now, there could be reasons because of the ownership. It could also be because Hydro and the government spend a lot of money advertising. So we can't get the truth out there. We can't even get letters published.
Now, personally, what I think it is that this smart meter decision obviously was made at a very, very high corporate level, because these are going in around the world.
Yes.
It's not just here.
There are billions of dollars involved.
And it's not that Christy Clark thinks that smart meters are a good idea. The government of BC was told to put them in, and they have. So, you know, and then the media is part of that structure of power that rules over us. So this is meant to happen. Let's go back to the court case. So this guy was speaking out. He was fired, and so he
sued for unjustified firing. And what the document I have is a briefing document that his lawyer presented to the court, and the court said yes, he had every reason to say that he should not have been fired, and he had proof, he had evidence to justify his concerns. And he had spoken with other people from other utility companies that were having the very same problem.
And the problem is?
That smart meters are dangerous. They burn. And there were two types of meters. One was the Landis+Gyr, which is very widely used in Quebec, and the other meter was the Itron Openway. And both of them were equally dangerous, and they had the same design flaws. Now, this isn't surprising, because experts down in the States, as well as here in Canada, have taken the smart meters apart and have determined that they're all basically the same. In fact, one engineer told me he suspected they were all made in the same Chinese factory, just with a face difference.
So, evidence in a court case in Texas was made public saying that
Itron meters are dangerous.
And this is under oath testimony in the Texas court. And yet nothing happens.
And what's frustrating is I presented this information not only to Bill Bennett and every other MLA, but I sent it to the NDP. My dealings with John Horgan over the last few years has been that he's concerned about the smart meters, primarily, I should say only because of the costs. He has been very upset and very outspoken about the fact, the NDP has been arguing about the fact that we shouldn't have spent this $1 billion, which is probably closer to $2 billion if we were to know the truth, and also the fact that they bypassed all authority. They bypassed the BC Utilities Commission. They bypassed anyone through the Clean Energy Act. No one can get involved with oversight.
So you mean Christy Clark makes the decision and it's done?
Or Bill Bennett. They just decide that this is going to happen, that we're going to have to pay fees if we're going to try to turn our radio transmitter off.
You mean the smart meter?
Of the smart meter, yes.
Yeah, and people, anybody who's tried to fight these smart meters, it's really, you know, the jackboots aren't there yet, but it's getting close with
it's very close.
The way the government and Hydro treats people.
There have been cases where people have felt that their privacy was invaded, their homes have been invaded, fences have been jumped, doors have been broken down. But further about, I believe that we now have evidence to call for a recall. And I sent this to John Horgan, hoping that he would stand by his concerns that the costs should not have been incurred. We have a defective product. And now we have proof that we have a defective product.
And that's very important. So we have a defective product. We have proof that it's a defective product. We have proof, it seems, that it's causing fires.
Yes.
Nothing is being said by the media. Nothing is being said by any politicians. But homes are burning down here in BC as well as everywhere else.
And lives, more importantly, lives are being put at risk. We don't know when that's going to happen. And with this dry fire season, one home going up could result in many homes going up. This is nothing we should be playing around with now. We know that these meters are fire hazards, and we should be demanding a recall. We should be demanding that Itron remove these meters and put safe analog meters back on our homes and pay us for all of the money that has been incurred. We, the taxpayers, are going to be paying for this for years. Always. It's a bottomless pit. And if John Horgan and the NDP believe what they say, that we should never have incurred this cost, then they should be now demanding this recall. I've given them the evidence, I've given them the tools, and I would like them to move forward with this.
And what's the response from the NDP?
Silence. Silence from Bill Bennett, silence from Christy Clark. I haven't heard from a single MLA, and I certainly haven't heard from the NDP. And I sent them to everyone more than 2 weeks ago. I delivered a registered letter to Bill Bennett. Nothing.
I just want to mention that the NDP is taking, I think, a similar tack on this current LNG issue as with the smart meters. They're pretending opposition, but in fact doing nothing as they're doing with
Well, it's
this.
really too bad. This is an issue, and there are many issues, but we need a strong opposition, and the public is not being served by a silent opposition.
Have you spoken to fire chiefs or people about fires here in BC?
Yes, and some will talk to me off record. But what is really concerning is evidence is there that I can't get my hands on. The insurance companies will not provide fire reports to the victims. They say they don't have a right to their own report about the fire on their homes.
Is that across the board or just where a smart meter is involved?
I don't know. I'm only asking about smart meters, but the people are asking for the smart meter report because, especially, I've got one prime example I'm very concerned about right now is a woman in Vernon. Her family member saw the fire coming from the smart meter, and she cannot get a report from her insurance company. And the fire department up in Vernon that helped her is a volunteer crew. They have no inspectors. They have nobody to be able to help her try to find out what the cause of the fire is. And the insurance company told her she didn't have a right to her insurance report. Yet they jacked up her insurance premiums $800 a year. Now, I wrote to their insurance company and asked if I could have a copy of the report. And they said no. And I said, well, I have permission from the person. And they said, no, this is still an open case. We may have legal action we're going to pursue. They are thinking, and many insurance companies I'm sure have, they have subrogated the claims and recovered claims from hydro. And yet, they are charging the premiums to the victims. This is unethical.
So you mean a fire happens on a house and hydro will pay the insurance company for their expenses, their costs?
The claim.
But everybody pretends it has nothing to do with the smart meter.
The victim not only suffers the loss of the home, and then the insurance company says, we'll pay the claim. No problem. Don't worry about it. They pay the claim. But they increase the premium as if it were the homeowner's fault. It's not the homeowner's fault. It's hydro and it's Itron's fault. The insurance company is recovering the cost that they're paying to the claimant. And they're not telling anybody.
And these smart meters are on everybody's home, did you say?
Yes, it's a deal. It's a real deal for all the corporations.
Yeah.
And we're being screwed.
Yeah.
And I think it's very, very sad that this is happening. And I'm investigating every angle. And the government and the corporations are being very coy. It's difficult. They're saying freedom of information. I can't get the information from hydro because it's freedom of information. They can't provide me with anything. BCUC can't get involved because of the Clean Energy Act. The BC Safety Authority has been told to not get involved by the government. There's nobody out there for us, Jack. It's just us.
Sharon, that's exactly right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all the work you've done for years on this issue.
Well, keep at it, Jack.
Yeah. And folks, this is what's going on in our province, not only on the smart meter issue, but right across the board. The corruption is rampant, and really, we've got to fix things up. So thanks again, Sharon, and thanks for watching this segment of Citizens Forum.